5 nights, 5 dinos, 6 episodes. We have gotten our full team together, so to speak, in Ryusoulger with episode 6, and that was a good one. I will say, while parts of it were like the cool culminations of what it's been building to, there were a few slightly weirder things than I expected. But it was mostly good stuff and a good follow-up to what's been going on, and kind of a good end to the sorta two-parter episode 5 setup for it. So from a character perspective, I think we've landed in a really good place. We had more of Bamba this time, kind of learning to deal with the implications of saving people the way he and Toa had been looking at it in terms of one life for others, and the idea of just saving everyone, and Toa coming around to the idea of the main 3 so far over the past few episodes and convincing his brother not to murder someone. Again, hopefully they never have to convince anyone of that again in this show. We got some really cool stuff with Ko and Melto, that determination of that fight they're going through to get the Fang, and just really getting the crap kicked out of them, because dang, they were in a bad state. Really cool character moments for them. You know, I wish it could have had Asuna there as well, but given Toa was also out of commission, it didn't feel like the thing Sentai does sometimes where they just screw the girl over. You know, if it had been everyone but her, I would have been annoyed. I also might have been annoyed if it was just Ko, because this is a show that has occasionally tiptoed into letting the red do a bit more. It hasn't been crazy, I don't think it's been egregious yet, but anytime everyone does things, or at least a group of people does things very significant, I feel a little better in a Sentai context. So that was really cool. I have enjoyed, you know, the little more we've got of the villains. Creon having a YouTube channel is interesting. I'm expecting some episode about a flame war between Creon's fans and Ui's fans or something. I'm really curious about where they'll go with that. But of course, the big thing here is that our team came together, 5-person transformation, 5-person roll call, and Kishiryu 5 nights. So it is worth noting that while we did get some really cool fighting on the ground when they were trying to get the Fang to get the antidote, I am incredibly surprised that we didn't get a big fight scene of all 5 of them on the ground level, or like a big team finisher. I've actually talked about this with a friend. We have gotten very few finisher attacks on the ground level, and part of it is because, you know, they don't do the whole defeat the monster then it gets big method. It's just the monster gets big eventually, so they don't defeat it on the ground usually, and that's weird. I mean, I like all the mech stuff, obviously, but, like, it would be cool to have some definitive, like, crazy finisher action, especially now that the 5 of them were working together cohesively. With that being said, Kishiryu 5 nights, Kishiryu 5 nights, was dope. It was really cool. You know, again, it does bulk out a little bit, mostly the weapons, honestly, but I really enjoyed everyone getting a moment to do an attack. The way they defeated the Minosaur with that backstab was so cool. And getting to see 2 finishers was neat. The big slash with all the Kishiryu, which was really cool. And then the giant cannon, that was really cool. I will say Bamba's mech attack involving the mirror needle chest piece was... Alright, I guess if you're going to go for it, go for it. I did think, in my opinion, there was a little bit of weird pacing in that fight, in that they cut away to kind of jokey stuff a little more than I would have liked in that fight. When the Minosaur was defeated and we got back to the host and they went for like the soy milk joke again real quick, I'm like, that could have been after the fight, when Tank Joe is like, everyone dies if you kill me here. When they cut to Creon running away, I like the implication there, but there was kind of a weird cut in the drama for me. I think also the inflate soul or whatever it was that they used to get Tank Joe into space was like... it's one of the sillier ones, so it being the trump card was a little like... I don't know, it was a very big dramatic moment, and it was still really cool, but like, I would have liked it if maybe they kept that seriousness up the whole fight. But hey, rip Tank Joe. I kind of thought this was going to happen. He didn't seem like a character who was going to get a lot of depth. It would have been cool if they found a way, but he was the big angry strong guy. And now we're going to be getting our new wizardy, probably more cunning villain, which I kind of figured. That'll be cool. I do wonder if we're going to be constantly rotating generals, or if we'll have like more than one at a time and they'll get to play off each other, because if not, it's going to be a show about Creon being the only villain with development, or at least like time spent. But who knows? We'll see how that goes. Some other little things. The Elder is back, and I didn't really expect that. I honestly thought that maybe they'd only booked that actor to do like the intro stuff, and then we were going to just not see the village for a very long time. The food truck is funny. I didn't realize the village was destroyed. I thought it was just attacked. So I guess we're not going back at any point. That's odd. Or if we do, it's gonna be like, we've been rebuilding, but like, where's everyone staying? It seemed like they had a population. That was odd. I really didn't think that was the case. But it was nice to see him for that moment where he talks about how they've grown. I wonder if he will be more reoccurring now, or if he's going to be an every once in a while character. I really don't know. I also like that he had vague magic mentor character powers, and hopefully he can put those to use in the future for us. Now, something with this episode is it's kind of brought the first arc of the show to an end, in a sense. The team is assembled, they have their completed mecha, quote-unquote, and they've had a kind of a big victory over the villains. And from here, we're going to kind of be seeing a turning point for the show. So I have enjoyed the show. I hope that has been clear. I am enjoying the show a lot. Some of my early worries have been pushed aside. Some are there, but it's more of a, we haven't gotten to a point where they can all be addressed yet. I do think it's had a strong start, though. I think it's been a fun show. The team dynamic is cool. Having the team still be kind of disparate and separate at this point, but with like a mutual respect, is an interesting angle, and I'm curious to see how long they maintain that. But I have enjoyed it a lot. I think it's a stronger intro for some of the recent Sentai, and part of that is because I think some of the recent Sentai have gone in with bigger gimmicks as the concept of like Q Ranger and Lupat, and early on I was kind of like, oh, I don't know if you can maintain your gimmick and if it's going to service the story. Here, with the gimmick and the motif not being anything crazy or new, it seems like it's going to just come down to actual character and story stuff, and so far I'm happy with it. Next episode, it looks like it's going to be kind of wild with aliens being brought into play, and I hope that feels handled well. So on that note, a friend of mine from online, who is also a big Toku geek like me, has been talking with me, and I've been talking with them about doing some sort of little collaboration here. So my buddy Nikki, who has a YouTube channel called Explode When Defeated, who does some really cool, like, long-form Toku analysis stuff that they will talk about a little more. They went ahead and sent me some of their thoughts on Ryusoulger thus far as, like, a completed first arc and where the series is going. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to them.
Hey, this is Nikki from Explode When Defeated, and I'm going to give you some very quick thoughts on my end of the first 6 episodes of Ryusoulger, this first arc. I'm not going to go too into specific about episode 6, but more on a more overarching level for episodes 1 through 6. I think this is a great first arc. A really, really good foundation has been built for the next 45 or so episodes to build upon and to really run with. I think it's a better foundation than we usually get. I am actually the kind of odd person that really, really liked both Q Ranger and Lupat, but I think that this is a much better, much more solid foundation than even those two were able to lay down. This is honestly, it kind of reminds me a lot of how some of the early 90s Sentai kind of operated, because just with more toys. because if you look at Jetman and Zyuranger, both of those actually start out with like 6-episode arcs. It's a bit more clean cut in those because they get Daijujin and they get Jet Icarus in those arcs at the 6-episode mark. Whereas here, it's mainly just the build up to 5 Nights. So it kind of fulfills the same purpose, it's just that we see more flashy mech fights along the way. Speaking of, the mech fights, I think everybody has said, I'm not being controversial here when I say that the mech fights are fucking sublime compared to other Sentai. It's nuts. It is absolutely crazy. Just how stellar the mech fights have been. It really, some people have said it. I've seen people say it on Twitter and stuff, and I've been kind of saying it too. It feels like they've been taking notes from Ultraman, which is really cool because it's not too often that you'll kind of see one series kind of learn from another series and stuff. Toku kind of gets very insular, where they're kind of learning from themselves and learning from their old series and stuff. So it's very refreshing and very, very obvious whenever you can see a show like Super Sentai take notes from Ultraman. Like the first time that the first Minosaur was shown in like minute 2 of episode 1, where it's like huge and it's looming and stuff, that very much felt to me like something out of some Ultraman show. It's really, really cool. The mech fights have been absolutely stellar and visually interesting too, on just about every time and stuff. I mean, the big highlights for me, I think, are episode 1, obviously. Episode 2 had a really great mech fight and really great build up to the mech fight. And episode 5, I think, has a really, really good one with the sunset, and then episode 6, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's just really cool. More Toku villains should be blasted into space. It rules. It's so cool. It was the best part of Wizard. Other than that, the characters have been really, really well built up. There's a little bit of cartoonishness in just how serious things can become a little bit, which I kind of dig. It's kind of like a Kamen Rider-esque character quirk of just of Green and Black just being like very into killing people. They're just like, no, this is how you fix it. And it's like, well, yeah, but like, why are you so into this? Like don't you have any hesitation? It's just funny. It's I don't see it as a flaw really, just because it's kind of something I'm used to Kamen Rider doing. So to see it in Sentai is actually like pretty hilarious. Speaking on the team dynamic a bit more conclusively, I think that the 5 of them are really, really good, and they're really good together. And I like that there is a touch of conflict happening. Recently, I watched and did a review on Jetman, and that was kind of like the big thing that I really appreciate about that show on some levels, and I kind of miss in Sentai just because I think a lot of times there might be a touch of conflict when they first come together, but then very quickly they're just all best buddies forever. They're great. But I like that there's some conflict going on and stuff. They don't completely agree about how to do certain things. There's even, whenever Towa and Bamba first show up, there's even like some stuff where Melto was kind of like, well, I kind of see where they're coming from at first. And I really, really like them. And I also like having the kind of like breaking up the team into even smaller units, where like it was kind of like how Go Under did things. Weird comparison, but like, having the main 3 and then having these other 2 that are kind of like a pair unto themselves. And then whenever we get Gold later, we're probably gonna have him be like a lone wolf, so he's like a third component, a third like different group unto himself. And I dig that they didn't completely close that one up. That Towa and Bamba are still gonna just kind of do their own thing, and then kind of come in and everything. They're going to be a lot more unified because now they've done stuff for each other and helped each other out. But it's not they're not completely, it's not the Brady Bunch yet or anything. This first 6 episodes, it's kind of I don't know if it's like a super strong comparison, but it made me think of, the first thing I thought of was the first Avengers movie, where the first Avengers movie, the entire movie, for the first like 2 hours, they're like arguing with each other for like the whole thing, and then like the last like 30-40 minutes they're able to like come together and really kind of bring it home, and then after that they're like, oh hey, that was really, really great, and then they still kind of go on their separate ways because they've still got their own goals and stuff and their own things to do. And I think that's kind of the same thing that I'm thinking of here, is that Toa and Bamba obviously have their own things that they need to handle. So they're still going to have like some arcs kind of unto themselves that they have to kind of figure out before they can fully commit to this 5-man team. And I dig that. I really dig that. But I do love that this 6th episode arc was pretty definitive. Like, I really love the Sage a lot. It's mainly just from this one episode, from episode 6, but I really, really love what they did with him, in making him like a funny, like, kebab salesman and stuff. But I really liked his stuff at the very end, with him kind of noting about how Red, Blue, and Pink have grown. And I'm really interested to see where the rest of the team goes from here. Speaking on that, I think the last thing to really go over is just where this kind of sets us up. The biggest thing that I think is interesting is that they haven't even mentioned or made note of or anything about Gaisorg yet. And we know that there is some toy stuff concerning him coming up. They left it pretty open at the end of the Super Sentai Strongest Battle stuff. So Gaisorg is definitely going to come in at some point soon. I'm kind of thinking maybe that's going to be towards the end of the 2nd arc, whatever that is. I find it interesting that they're going to be helping out 2 alien princesses, it looks like, next episode. That's very interesting. We've already got a new general, and that's really cool. Speaking on the villains just for a quick second, I love Creon so much, I will die for Creon. I really liked Tank Joe as well. I liked him as the kind of brute force kind of guy, you know. He's kind of like the, I forget his name, but like the watermelon guy with the hammer in Loop Hat. He's kind of like that character, and they got rid of him pretty quick. So it's gonna be interesting to see what kind of characters they bring out for these next arcs. I really, really like this setup for the villains, where it's like Creon is likely going to be the one that sticks it out through the end, and everybody is going to be like, and there's going to be like a rotating cast of generals that are going to be like, all right, now, this is my turn. I'm going to go destroy the Ryusoulgers now. And I'm not sure if I think that Creon is going to be the end villain, but it's going to be really cool to see Creon develop over time, or see Creon not develop over time, just like continually like just be weird and funny. I think there's going to be something interesting though. But yeah, I don't know, I'm just super, super into this. This is like the coolest thing. I had a really, really good feeling about this show from the outset, and especially whenever the staff was announced, seeing that the producer was from Sailor Moon and hadn't done any other toku for Toei, and that the writer had never done toku before, was like from dramas and stuff, very much like the writer for Build. And then that the director was the guy that directed some of the standout episodes of Build, like episode 21 in particular. I love this show's mood. It's able to straddle like a line that's like really cool of being like some of the darker stuff that we've seen in Sentai in quite some time, and then also some like really goofy stuff as well. To me, it kind of feels like a weird spiritual successor to Go Busters a little bit. It kind of feels like the weird alternate universe version of Kyoryuger, where they still went with a dinosaur Sentai right after Go Busters, but Go Busters was super, super successful, so they went with like that similar kind of mood, where it's kind of darker and a bit more serious, and they have like the mech fights are kind of like more kind of exciting and stuff. Like it kind of just feels like that to me, but I'm not sure if that completely translates for a lot of other people. But I'm very much feeling this. I am more excited for Sentai than I am for Rider lately, even though I really like Zio as well. And that's pretty. That's, you know, that doesn't happen all that often. So yeah. So that's the first arc. Hope you enjoyed watching this video. Check me out on my channel, Explode When Defeated, if you want to hear me talk more in depth about other shows. I have a video essay about Kuga, and I have a video essay about Jetman. They're more scripted, more kind of deep dive, like kind of analysis videos about like mainly the theme, and then like some other stuff kind of jumping out from that and stuff. So yeah, if you want to check me out, check out those videos, and thanks so much. See ya.
All right, I want to give a huge shout out to Nikki. I really encourage you all to go check out Explode When Defeated. They've done some really cool stuff so far in like the 2 longer form videos, and I'm really looking forward to what else they're doing. So if you like this stuff, I definitely go and check them out. They are also on Twitter at Anti-Laser. I will put that all in the video description if anyone wants to check that out. And thank you all for listening, and I'm really excited for where this is going. I will be back for episode 7. Until then, everyone, take it easy.